Now we're chatting about League One. In League One, we're going to be discussing black managers. Is it harder to play against 10 men? Young Bucks making a name for themselves, and looking at the top of the table, it's very tight. So we're going to start with the top of the table. Is it better to have the points in the bag or games in the hand?
No. Always better to have the points.
Really?
Yeah, because you've got to win the games.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can get injuries in those games,
yeah,
and stuff like that can happen. It's always better to have points in the bag, and there's more pressure on you, especially if you're chasing a pack and you have to win the game.
Yeah.
Just gives you more pressure instantly.
So you would rather your team with 3 points clear than have 2 games in hand but 3 points below?
Yeah, I'd rather have the points.
Well, Sheffield United, if they win their games in hand, they go top on goal difference. I think they play 39, whereas top of the league play 41.
Yeah, but they have to win the games.
They've got to win the games,
and that's the whole different thing.
But their league position would say they're in a good place to do that.
Yeah, but then the pressure at this stage of the season is what's going to either let them kick on, and because it's all very well people saying, oh, you got 2 games in hand, if you win them, you're going to get it. You have to win them. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of pressure that all of a sudden goes on a team, and those are the kind of things that make people make mistakes. So all of a sudden, whereas you have to win this game or win these 2 games to actually get to a certain level, because in your mind you're thinking, yeah, but when we win our 2 games in hand, we're going to be here. If you don't win them, then all of a sudden pressure's on. True,
but like I say, you know, if you're a couple of points behind, but you have those 2 games in hand, then that gives you added incentive to go out and win them, surely. And then you go top.
Pressure, yeah, but you're taking away the most important ingredient, and that's the pressure of having to win them. It's not that simple. You can't just feel that. You know, you got the 2 games in hand. Oh, brilliant! Got 2 games in hand over them who have 3 points clear.
So you think it's a bit more of a drag? You think, oh, blimey.
To be honest, yeah.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter how well you're playing as well. You know what I mean. You most probably have to play in the midweek. You know what I mean. You might like to play on the Saturday and then Saturday again, and you know, they come quick like that.
So this stage of the season, it's best to have the points in hand. Says Mr. Ian Wright there.
That's right.
Well, Sheffield United, they've got a couple of games in hand. Brentford, I think, as well. They're all going for it. Bournemouth are an interesting side at the moment.
Yeah.
They've gone on a run of 5 straight wins. Before that, they had 5 straight losses. Eddie Howe's men. It would be nice to see them go up. A young manager like Eddie Howe, we've talked about young players and managers a lot. Well, there is a young manager. It'd be good to see him get up.
He's done well.
Up the divisions, because he tried it.
He went to Burnley.
That's right.
Didn't quite work out. Yeah. He was linked with Palace as well for a bit.
Okay.
And I thought that was going to be a really good appointment. Obviously, in the end, he went to Burnley. I don't think it went too bad for him, but maybe he's just a Bournemouth lad.
Yeah.
And he's gone back there, and it seems to have gone pretty well for him. But it's one of those where that league, for me, it's like no one wants to take the initiative and just go and win.
Well, we said last
league.
time it was the most exciting league in Europe.
It is, you know what I mean? And it's like you say, you can, and it's like that in that league. You know, like even the other day, I was like Shrewsbury came to MK Dons, absolutely battered them. You know what I mean? And then the same with Bournemouth. They came, but they've lost 5 on a spin, and also they win 5 on a spin. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just such a strange league. Strange league.
Well, let us know who you think is going to go up. Comment below or tweet us at @ball_street.
Okay, we're talking about playing against 10 men. Danny Wilson said it's very hard to play against 10 men, and people say that all the time. You hear commentators saying it. It's very hard to play against 10 men, and it is, because what happens is you go down to 10 men, and instantly the coach will most probably take off the forward, get 2 banks of 4, 1 man in front, play on the counter-attack. And it's very hard, as anyone has seen, to break down 4 with no gaps in between. So it is very hard to play against 10 men.
Well, it is hard, but it's harder, surely, to play against 11 men. Because they've got the extra man.
That is the ideal scenario.
Isn't it just?
But sometimes you go down to 10 men and you have to adjust, especially if you go down early. Fans will instantly think, oh, brilliant, they've gone down to 10 men. You know what I mean? We're going to have, like, you know, just for instance, the first 15 minutes. So, you know, you got the rest of that game playing against 10 men, and it's going to be hard. But then, as a player who's played in a team where you've had a man sent off, what you then do, and me as a forward, all I've done was try to get as many fouls I can in respect of holding the ball, running the ball into areas where it can get our defence and everybody to push up, take a bit of, give them a bit of a breather. It's a whole different role for a front man when you go down to 10 men. And then what you're doing is you're literally looking to score on a counter-attack.
Yeah, but okay, so defensively we think that 10 men can provide a sterner test, arguably. but they provide a lot less of a threat going forward, so that the team with 11 men don't have to worry about that so much. I mean, you look at, if we use quite a spectacular example, Real Madrid versus Manchester United at Old Trafford. United were faring much better with 11 men. They get the man sent off, and when you've got a coach like Mourinho, who's a good tactician and he uses substitutes well, he brings on Modric, changes the game, bang, they win 2-1. Would they have won against 11 Manchester United players? I mean, there was talk of Mourinho doing training drills with just 10 men at Chelsea to prepare for such scenarios. So when Danny Wilson says it's harder to play against 10 men, no, it's different to play against 10 men. Sometimes that can be easier.
It's harder.
How is it harder though?
Because then you're not playing to break. You're playing to just stop.
Yeah.
You're just playing to stop people. So
but that team with
especially when you're at their place.
The nature of a sending off, it changes the game. And if the game changes, if you've got a good enough manager who can see, right, that's how they're setting up now, the dynamic of the game has changed. They're not pushing forward as much, they're pushing back, which tends to happen with 10 men. A good manager will see that and make a substitution and get in there. And look, if you said to a manager, the opposition, would you take it if they got a sending off before the game? If you offered the manager the opposition getting a red card at some point throughout the game, a manager would always say yes. Surely he would. Do you see what I mean?
I don't know. I don't think.
And on that, I think I've won the argument.
Okay. Well, if you feel you can win the argument on that, then take it.
Well, let's see. What do you think? Comment below, please, or tweet us at @ball_street if you disagree or agree with myself or Mr. Ian Wright. Right, we're talking young guns in League One. Young players showing a lot of potential. Who have we got, Wrighty? Who have we got?
One I mentioned earlier on about Shrewsbury coming to MK Dons and doing a job on him. Tom Eaves.
Yes.
Big guy, 6'5". Before the game, it was really strange because I saw them doing some warming up with him where they was knocking into him. He was getting a touch, but he was strong, real physical presence. Kind of ran himself out in the end, but scored two very, very good goals against them. I really like the look of him.
Well, you're talking of big players. We've got Dan Burnett at Iova, who's on loan from Fulham, and he's 6'6". I like this, known as Baby Breda.
Okay.
Breda Hangeland there. So yeah, he's a decent player.
Well, obviously, they're 6'6". You're going to be half decent in respect of being a centre half. But like, you want to see what a player like that is like when you've got movement in and around.
Absolutely.
That is where the test
What's his
comes.
awareness like?
Exactly.
All that kind of stuff.
Maybe that's why he's out on loan,
yeah,
to try and get that kind of experience.
But let us know who your young guns are in League One. Tweet us at @ball_street or comment below.
451, we are talking black managers. Is there enough? Should there be more? Why isn't there more? More coaches? What do you think? Well,
the stats certainly say that. I mean, 20% of pro players in England are black, whereas only 4.8 of England's UEFA B licensed coaches or higher are black indeed. So it's a bit of a misbalance there, certainly.
Well, there is definitely a misbalance.
But Chris Kamomi has been given the full-time job at Notts County, which is encouraging. And is it the first time a black manager has replaced a black manager? Because Keith Curle was there before.
Yeah,
I think it might well have been.
I think so.
Yeah,
you know what? The whole situation with the black manager and stuff like that. Maybe more black players and that need to. I don't know. They might need
aspire,
to
maybe.
Yeah, maybe that. You know what I mean? It's one of those where more of them need maybe take more badges. You don't know how many, and more of them to see if they want to go into that. I just think it's something that they do make a massive deal about it. It really is quite. I'm tired of hearing it.
Really,
I think that it's something that if it's for you, you do it. If it's not, then you just don't. Yes, there should be more. Why there isn't more, I don't know.
Well, if there was a few more black managers who were given opportunities, say, then perhaps black players, would be able to aspire to that because they can see a few guys there and think, well, it's achievable perhaps. Well,
it is achievable anyway. It's up to you. You're not going to say, well, I'm not going to go because there's not enough of them for me to see that there's one there. Just go and do it if that's what you feel you want to do. The people constantly going on about there's not enough black managers, and maybe not enough black players want to do it. I personally do not want to do it.
Right.
I don't mind being in and around the culture, but I don't want to do management because I've seen it, I've been around it with, obviously being around managers, being around Carl Robinson, watching what he's doing now. Yeah. I wouldn't want to take on that much of a workload. To be honest, it's not for me. Yeah. Now, some players might be like that, but some players maybe not.
Yeah. So stop offering him jobs, everybody.
Well, it's not even a case of that. I just think that there's a lot made of it. As long as people are getting the opportunities to get into coaching and then to progress, then, you know what I mean, it will happen slowly. But it's going to be slow because there's not enough people maybe going for certain coaching badges and certain jobs.
Yeah.
You know, but it will happen.
Yeah.
You know
Well, I mean, two encouraging examples of Chris Hughton at Norwich, who's doing a good job there, and obviously Chris Powell's done a great job at Charlton. Yeah,
well, Chris Hughton's served his apprenticeship in respect of the amount of coaching he's done as a number 2. And Chris Powell is somebody who's always been pretty astute in respect of tactics, and you know what I mean, since I saw him as a youth team player coming through at Palace.
Yeah.
So it was natural for them, and that's what I'm saying. It's natural for some people to make that progression. You'd like to see more, but it will happen when it happens. You know, I don't feel that it's something that let's get more black managers in just because there's not enough. Then what happens when suppose they all come through and they're not good enough? You know what I mean? People have to aspire to something because that's what they want to do, black or white or Asian. Why no one's saying, there's no Asian managers, there's no Asian coaches.
Or players as
well. Well, to be honest, this is what I'm saying. There's much bigger issues. At the end of the day, football's football, and people will come through when the time's right for them to come through. Tired of that argument.
Okay, well, if you're not tired of that argument, you want to comment below, then please do, or tweet us at @ball_street. Graham Wesley said recently that his Stevenage Borough side can only go as far as the Championship. Very aspirational man. Or does he have a fair point? Is there only so far a club can go?
No.
Really?
No. Well, Wimbledon. If Wimbledon had that philosophy, then they wouldn't have done what they've done in the end.
FA Cup winners, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. It's almost like saying, well, I could take them as far as the Championship, but they can't go any further. What is he basing that on? The fact that he hasn't got money.
Yeah.
The fact what's he basing it on? The fact that the name isn't fashionable. Do you know what I mean?
Stevenage Borough.
Yeah. What's he basing it on?
Well, I mean, you're right to say Wimbledon as an example, but I think the game was a little bit different back then because I think money is a much more crucial thing than it's ever been. Stevenage Borough couldn't play in the Premier League. You know, you'd have to, without investment, look at the stadium, the fan base. You know, it's very, very difficult to keep that. Where would they get their money from?
Yeah, but we're talking about if they got to that, if they got to the Championship, and then they were playing well enough to be up in and around playoffs and go up,
and then investment and all that kind of stuff.
Well, something would have to be done. But to say that we'll get to the Championship and then that's it.
But there is something to be said, you know, especially about a fan base. I mean, would there be a big enough fan base in Stevenage to say, have a new stadium, 25, 30,000? I mean, people talked about, say, a club like Fulham. Now, Fulham have had a lot of investment. Obviously, they're an established Premier League side. Now, if you go down to Fulham, they don't have that many fans who have been there for years. A lot of Antipodeans who come and live in London, your South Africans, your Aussies and your Kiwis, who want to get into football, and they go to watch Fulham because it's slightly cheaper, and they don't have that kind of fan base. There's seats to be sat on there. Whereas Chelsea, QPR, a little bit more established, a bit more of a fan base. You know, Fulham's everybody's second favourite team in London as well. Without a fan base, you know, who's going to come and watch Stevenage Borough play? Well, would you see Stevenage Borough playing in front of 30,000 fans? Well, Blackburn are struggling. They've not got a big catchment area.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. It doesn't make no difference what
we did win the league. So
if you can see them playing in 30,000 or in front of 3,000, they're in an English league promotional system where if they go up, they can go to the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't make no difference can you see 30,000 people watching them, because if they go up, it doesn't make... Look at Blackburn, they've never got 30,000 watching them when they went up. I'm not saying that they're the same level as Stevenage, but it doesn't make any difference as long as Stevenage are in the Championship and have got the backing to get to the higher echelons of the Championship and then maybe go up. Then all those problems are something that they're going to have to deal with. But to say that they can't get any further, that's as far as they can go is rubbish.
Right.
Because if the players just play well, have an unbelievable season and it happens for them, all of a sudden they've got further. So him saying that just says to me that he talks rubbish.
Well, there's an opinion to hang out on. But to be fair to Graham Wesley, he has spoken rubbish before.
Thank you. Well, so I'm right to say what I said then.
Don't be too surprised about that. Well, Stevenage Borough fans or any other fans from clubs who you think you might not be able to get into the Premier League one day or not, let us know your thoughts, comments below, or tweet us at @ball_street.